Hello, it's Shahara. Welcome back to my channel, too, The Witchy Reader. So I'll be talking about a book I actually read closer to the beginning of the year, but it's still not published yet. I beta read it, or I was like an ARC reader for it or something. I'm not entirely sure if this is the final title for it. It's called, but so this is what I'm going to call it for now. Classified by Donna Power, D.A. Power. And so this is the book 3 of the actual Chronicles. So I'm still putting my books in my new-ish books. Well, technically I bought it a while ago, but then I moved where my books were, so I took them all off, moved my shelf, and then I'm still in the process of moving all my books back on my shelf. So they're not all on my shelf right now, so they're all kind of scattered on my table. So I'm not entirely sure where they are because they're not on the shelf yet. But I own books 1 and 2 by the author, and they've both been signed. And which is cool because I've never owned a signed book before, and I have these 2 signed books and I love it. But so this book really, so I've talked about this series before because I've done reviews for book 1 and book 2, and something I mentioned, like book 1, it's not my typical read, but then again I have gotten out of my comfort zone. I feel like the last few years because I got more into indies, and I really want to support some indie authors, and then I end up actually liking some books that are not my normal forte. Fantasy is still my favorite series, but I do like exploring a little bit and reading some of these other indie books and giving a shout out to them because indie authors deserve all the love and support, and they have some amazing writers that do not get the shine that they deserve. But book 1 was about a girl who could talk to a mouse. So it wasn't fully realistic, but it was definitely more in the realistic world. That was really the only thing. Book 2 added more mythical things because it added a I don't want to get too spoilery, so I won't get into too much detail, but basically as a ghost, there's a haunting going on. Book 3, since it's not out yet, I'll definitely not be spoilery, which is very hard for me to do, so this is probably going to be a short review because I don't want to spoil it too much. But it adds even more, as well as another genre that's kind of thrown in besides just fantasy, but that's at the very end, definitely a cliffhanger, and I'm still shocked about that because I never would have guessed, but so one thing I loved about this, first of all, I love seeing these friends still, hanging out, like some of them are coupled and whatever, but they're all, like, older now because they were so young in the first book, and you really watch them grow up, and I love shows like that. There's so many shows that I've watched where you watch these kids grow up. Like, I just watched the finale for Stranger Things. Not gonna get into all that, but I watched those kids grow up, Then there's like Sweet Life Zach Cody. They grew up with me. I was a kid watching that, growing up with them as they were growing up, and on Sweet Life Zach Cody and on deck. And I just think that's so cool to be able to watch these kids grow up, and you kind of feel that vibe with this series as well, because I feel like they were so young in the first book. Now they're still pretty young. They're teenagers. I want to say 15, 16, somewhere around that age. I'm pretty sure they were closer to like 10 or 11 in the first book. But yeah. And first of all, I love their friendship. Yes, there is romance, obviously, but I love that the friend group is the center of it. The romance, since they're all coupled up, is more of a side thing. So there is that. And I love a good friendship and friend group, and they have an amazing friend group. They're also supportive stuff, and it's so cool because in this one, because they're all hiding secrets, because they all are aware of this, like, magical stuff, one of their friends turned out to be sort of magical. Was introduced, I want to say in book 2, in book 3 she discovers she has this magical thing. Don't want to spoil anything by saying what, or how, or what, but, so they're hiding out with her, trying to keep this thing hidden, and then there's the ghost thing, plus there's the fact that they can talk to animals. And so it's all, so there's so many things that they're hiding. And one thing you always see, like I said, I was watching Stranger Things, right? And obviously Joyce and Hopper knew because they found out in season 1. So a show that actually has 2 parents know what's going on is almost unheard of, because usually parents know nothing what their kid's doing. all the other parents didn't know anything their kids were doing, even though they were out fighting Demogorgons and Vecna and saving the world and whatnot. Hiding superpowered people, like, yeah. And then Karen, who is Mike and Nancy's mom, finds out last season. And it's really interesting to have, like, the parents get involved, because a lot of times they're not, let's be real. Like Dustin's mom, Lucas's parents, they're always kind of just on the sidelines because they don't know what's going on. It's not a main point of the show. And then in book 3 of the Asher Chronicles, there's even a whole thing when Celeste and her friends get home. I think it was right after they missed something that they were supposed to be at, especially Celeste, and all of their parents were there, and they had a talk with them about, I think it was mostly the dads because it was a whole thing, but they had a talk with them about the way they've been acting, about being all secretive and hiding things and what's going on, and I thought that was really interesting as well, because you don't see that very much. Either the parents are involved, or they are basically absentee and don't know what their kids are doing. There's hardly ever an in-between. Like, Stranger Things had somewhat of an in-between, because Karen knew something was going on, even though she didn't find out till the end, and Joyce and Hopper is known since basically the beginning because they were heavily involved. So it's really nice to see, like, the parents still don't know what's actually going on, but they're trying to find out because they know something's up with their kids. So I really liked that little, whatever, because you don't see that very often. So that was nice. And it was just a really good read. Like I said, it does leave off the cliffhanger, so I'm very curious about how it's going to pick up. And, I was, like, all shady over Celeste's biological father, and I remember being suspicious of him for the longest time, and everything, but that cliffhanger really shocked me, and I really want to know where the story's going to take off from there, because that was a lot. So, yeah, but that is all. Definitely check out the series. Book 1 is called Sweet, Book 2 is called Cowboys and Queens. Definitely check those out, and then Book 3 will be published hopefully sometime this year. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and comment if you've seen it, if you want to read it, and I will chat with you guys below in the comments. Until next time.